This is how I do a service on a 2005 Toyota Highlander V6 all-wheel drive. It's a limited edition, though I don't think that has any bearing to do with the engine. I'm pretty sure all the V6s of this vintage are the same 3.3 liter. So basically what I do is every 20-30,000 miles, I'll drain out some transmission fluid and refill with some new, putting in exactly as much as I took out. I do it with the engine cold, so that way the transmission fluid hasn't expanded, and the new, as opposed to the new stuff being cold and being smaller by volume. And I use a 10 millimeter Allen attachment for a ratchet wrench. I'll show you underneath the car where that is, and I drain it into a container that has markings so I know how much came out. That'll tell me then how much to put back in. I'll show you where that is now. This is the bolt that plugs the drain. It looks pretty clean. There's no foul odor, or it doesn't smell burnt at all, so that's good. Okay, so on these drain bolts, there's the Allen female end of things that the wrench goes into. They have a crush washer, and the crush washer I'm replacing is aluminum, and it's a soft metal, obviously aluminum, and copper is another metal that's soft as well. So all they had at the store today was the copper, so that's what I'm going to go with. You can use either. It just has to fit, and I believe it's 18 millimeters on that washer, and that's going to sandwich in between and prevent the fluid from coming out. Okay, I'm under my car because just as I suspected, it's dripping some transmission fluid, and I've tightened this down. I suspect the crush washer, so I'm going to show you what I end up doing to resolve this issue. Okay, I've got the transmission fluid draining into the pan. This is a crush washer that I was replacing. You can see that it's got this little ring here from being crushed. This is a copper one that I bought, and it's leaking. It's been leaking since last night, very slowly, as you saw what I just did. So I'm going to take and put some Teflon tape on this bolt. No washer. Cross thread these pans. So make sure that you get the majority of it in by hand, as opposed to just putting your wrench right on it and sending it, because you could cross thread pretty simply and pretty easily. All right, now that we're on pretty level ground, I see that it's at the 3 mark, so it looks like I've got 3 quarts out. I've seen other people get out 4 when it's cold, and I do have 4 quarts, but I don't want to go with too much fluid because that's not good for transmissions. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to replace this with just a little over 3, maybe 3.5 quarts, just so I feel a little more comfortable. When you change your oil, there's a large fill opening, so obviously we're not doing the oil right now, but the transmission fluid on this vehicle is going to go in through the dipstick tube, and you can see it's a pretty big tube. It's not as small as the oil tube. So what I'm going to do is use this funnel and slowly pour it in, because it's not going to want to go in very easily because there's no real venting, so it'll do what's called burping. And so you've got to go slow to get assured that it gets in and doesn't just spill out over everything. Going like that, and that's how small of the area we have to fill in. You can see how slow you need to pour. So this is a very tedious process. I'll spare you the even more boring parts, but this is about the pace of which I'm pouring this fluid. Okay, that's about it for the transmission fluid change, I guess I'd call it. Not really a flush, but if I failed to mention, I guess it's really important that you use in Toyota's OEM transmission fluid. I have heard of people using another brand. I don't remember offhand what that was, but it's just, I'm not, these are cheap enough. So there are links in the description to all the things you would need if you want to do this sort of fluid service yourself. So thank you for watching, and I hope this helps anybody who needs a hand in doing this to get longer life out of their Highlander.